I want to share with you the most profound secret of manifestation, a secret so powerful that once understood will revolutionize your entire approach to life. Many of you come to me asking why your manifestations are delayed, why your desires seem to take so long to materialize in your world. Tonight, I shall reveal to you why, and more importantly, how to manifest your desires with lightning speed. Let me begin by sharing a principle that most of the world has completely misunderstood. In the book of John it is written, "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God." Now what is this Word? This Word, my dear wonderful friends, is not something spoken by your physical lips. The Word is your inner conversation, your mental dialogue that runs ceaselessly through your mind day and night. You see, most people are manifesting slowly or not at all because they fail to grasp this fundamental truth. Your inner conversation is the cause of everything in your world, everything. Not some things, not most things, but all things. When you truly understand this, you will begin to manifest with such rapidity that others will call it miraculous. Let me share with you a story that came to me just last week. A lady approached me after one of my lectures, her eyes filled with tears. She had been trying to manifest a reunion with her estranged son for 3 years. She had tried everything, affirmations, visualization, even traveling across the country to see him. But he refused to meet her. After attending my lectures and understanding this principle of inner conversation, she realized that her constant inner dialogue was, "Why won't my son talk to me? What did I do wrong? Will he ever forgive me?" Do you see what she was doing? She was perpetuating the very state of separation through her inner conversation. I instructed her to change her inner dialogue to how wonderful it is to talk to my son every day, how lovely it is to hear his voice filled with love for me. Within 1 week, yes, just 1 week, her son called her. Not only did he call, but he apologized for his behavior and expressed his desire to rebuild their relationship. This, my dear friends, is the secret that accelerates manifestation. Your inner conversation must match the state you wish to occupy. There must be no contradiction between what you desire and what you internally hear yourself saying about that desire. Now let me take it deeper into this mystery. In the book of Matthew, it is written, "For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also." Your treasure is not your desire. Your treasure is your inner conversation about your desire. If you claim to want financial abundance, but your inner dialogue is constantly repeating, "I never have enough money. Everything is so expensive, I can't afford this," then that conversation is your real treasure, and that is exactly what you will manifest. The speed of manifestation is directly proportional to the consistency of your inner conversation. When you maintain an inner dialogue that aligns perfectly with your desire, without contradiction, without doubt, without wavering, manifestation must follow as naturally as day follows night. Some of you might be thinking, "But Joseph, I try to maintain positive thoughts, yet my inner conversation seems to have a mind of its own." Here is where most seekers stumble. They try to force their inner conversation to control it through willpower. This is not the way. The secret lies in understanding that your inner conversation is not something to be forced, but something to be assumed. When you truly assume a state, the inner conversation appropriate to that state flows naturally. If you are wealthy, truly wealthy in consciousness, you don't need to force yourself to think wealthy thoughts. The inner dialogue of wealth flows spontaneously because it is natural to the state you have assumed. Let me make this practical for you. Tonight, when you go to sleep, I want you to do something revolutionary. Instead of trying to visualize your desire or repeating affirmations, I want you to simply listen to your inner conversation. Don't try to change it yet. Just listen. Become aware of what you are internally saying about yourself, your life, your desires, your relationships, your finances. This awareness is crucial because what you will discover is that your current inner conversation is a perfect match for your current life circumstances. Every detail of your life right now is a manifestation of your habitual inner dialogue. This is why some people can visualize for hours, affirm until they're blue in the face, yet see no results. Their inner conversation is contradicting everything they're trying to manifest. The secret to rapid manifestation lies in this understanding. Change the inner conversation and you change the outer world, and this is crucial. You must change it naturally by assuming the state of your wish fulfilled. When you assume the state, the appropriate inner dialogue flows without effort. Here's a profound truth that few understand. Your inner conversation is not just about the specific words you say to yourself. It's about the feeling tone behind those words. When you assume the state, the feeling of that state gives birth to natural, effortless inner talking that matches the state. Consider a woman who wants to be married. She might repeat affirmations like, "I am happily married," 1,000 times. But if her inner conversation throughout the day is filled with loneliness, questioning when love will come, or expressing doubt about finding the right person, those are the conditions she's actually manifesting. But when she assumes the state of the happily married woman, her inner conversation naturally includes remarks like, "My husband always does the sweetest things. I love cooking our favorite meals together." These conversations flow effortlessly because they are natural to the state she has assumed. This brings me to another crucial point about rapid manifestation. In the book of Revelation, it is written, "I am the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end." This is not speaking of some external deity. This is speaking of your consciousness, your I am. Your inner conversation is how you use this creative power of I am. Every time you engage in inner dialogue, you are defining who I am is. When you say internally, "I am struggling, I am trying to manifest, I am waiting for my desire," you are creating those very conditions. The secret to rapid manifestation is to engage in the inner conversation of the state fulfilled, not the state desired. Let me give you a warning here. Many of you will be tempted to monitor your inner conversation constantly, trying to catch every negative thought. This is not what I'm advocating. Such an approach creates tension and resistance, which only slows down manifestation. Instead, simply assume the state of your wish fulfilled and let the natural inner conversation of that state flow. Now, let me share with you something even more profound about this secret. In the book of Job, it is written, "For what I feared has come upon me. What I dreaded has happened to me." This is not just ancient wisdom. This is a precise description of how your inner conversation creates your reality. Your fears, your worries, the things you dread, these are not merely passive thoughts. They are powerful inner conversations that manifest with the same certainty as your desire. This is why I tell you that no one worry you. When others speak of recession, of difficult times, of impossibilities, you must understand that their conversations have no power in your world unless you accept them into your inner dialogue. The only creative power is your own inner conversation. I recall a gentleman who attended my lectures in New York. He was a businessman who had heard countless experts predicting a downturn in his industry. Everyone was preparing for failure, cutting costs, laying off workers. But this gentleman understood the secret of inner conversation. While others spoke of decline, his inner dialogue remained steadfast. "My business is thriving. My customers are abundant. But opportunities are flowing to me from every direction." His colleagues called him delusional, unrealistic. Yet within 3 months, while other businesses struggled, his company experienced its most profitable quarter ever. Was this a coincidence? No, my dear friends. It was the law in operation. His inner conversation created a state of consciousness that had to objectify itself in his world. Here is another secret that will accelerate your manifestations. Your inner conversation must not only match your desire, it must transcend time. Notice how most people's inner dialogue is always about the future. "I will be successful. I will find love. Things will get better." This very conversation pushes their desires perpetually into the future. The secret is to have an inner conversation that speaks from the in, as though your desire is already fulfilled. In the book of Isaiah it states, "Before they call, I will answer." This is not about some external God answering prayers. This is about the law of consciousness. Your inner conversation of the wish fulfilled is the answer, and it precedes the physical manifestation. Let me be very specific about this. If you desire financial abundance, your inner conversation should not be, "Money is coming to me," or "I am attracting wealth." These conversations, though seemingly positive, still speak from a place of lack. Instead, your inner dialogue should be that of a wealthy person. "I love how easily money flows in my life. It's wonderful having more than enough to share. I enjoy choosing the best of everything." Some of you might argue, "But Joseph, isn't this denying reality?" Isn't this lying to ourselves? Let me address this once and for all. What you call reality is simply the outer picturing of past inner conversations. Your current circumstances, which seem so solid and real, are nothing more than yesterday's inner talking made visible. In the book of Hebrews, it is written, "Through faith we understand that the worlds were framed by the word of God. So the things which are seen were not made of things which do appear." Replace word of God with inner conversation, and you have the exact law I'm revealing to you tonight. The things which are seen, your current circumstances, were created by the invisible power of your inner dialogue. Let me share another experience that demonstrates this principle perfectly. A young teacher came to me in despair. She had been assigned the most challenging class in her school, students known for being disruptive and unmanageable. Her inner conversation was filled with dread. These students won't listen. She will be a nightmare. I can't handle this class. I explained to her the secret of inner conversation. She began to change her internal dialogue too. My students are engaged and eager to learn. I love how respectful and cooperative my class is. Teaching this class brings me joy every day. She maintained this new inner conversation faithfully, even when external circumstances seemed to contradict it. Within 2 weeks, she noticed subtle changes. Students who had never participated began raising their hands. Disruptions became less frequent. By the end of the month, her class had transformed so dramatically that other teachers came to observe what they called her teaching magic. But it wasn't magic. It was the law of inner conversation in action. Now, here's another crucial aspect of this secret that few understand. Your inner conversation is not limited to your own life circumstances. When you engage in inner dialogue about others, you are influencing how they appear in your world. This is why the Bible instructs us to love our enemies and bless those who curse us. These are not moral instructions. They are practical metaphysical law. If someone in your world appears hostile or unpleasant, check your inner conversation about them. Are you internally rehearsing their faults? Are you mentally arguing with them? Are you replaying negative interactions? This inner dialogue is creating and sustaining their behavior in your experience. Change your inner conversation about them, and you change their behavior toward you. This is not manipulation. This is the correct use of the law. Someone in your world is yourself pushed out. Their behavior toward you is simply the manifestation of your inner conversation about them. I had a lady write to me about a difficult mother-in-law. For years, their relationship had been strained, filled with criticism and tension. Every time she thought about her mother-in-law, her inner dialogue was, "She's always judging me. She doesn't accept me. She makes my life miserable." I instructed her to change this inner conversation too. "My mother-in-law is so loving and supportive. We enjoy such wonderful times together." She practiced this faithfully, even though her external circumstances showed no immediate change. But within a month, her mother-in-law's attitude began to shift. Small gestures of kindness appeared. Criticism turned to compliments. Today, they share a loving relationship that amazes the entire family. This transformation wasn't about changing her mother-in-law. It was about changing her inner conversation about her mother-in-law. Now let me reveal to you an even deeper aspect of this secret that will accelerate your manifestations beyond anything you've previously experienced. In the book of Ecclesiastes, it is written, "To everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under heaven." Many interpret this literally, thinking they must wait for the right time for their manifestations. But I tell you truly, time is a creation of your inner conversation. When your inner dialogue constantly speaks of waiting, of process of gradual improvement, you create time between you and your desire. This is why so many remain stuck in the state of becoming rather than being. Their inner conversation is always about the journey, never the arrival. They say, "I'm getting better. I'm working towards my goal. I'm making progress." While these seem positive, they are actually creating perpetual delay. Let me share with you a profound truth. In imagination, where all creation takes place, there is no time. This is why the Bible speaks of God as the eternal I am, not the I will be. Your inner conversation must reflect this timeless nature of consciousness. Instead of saying internally, "My business is growing," say, "I am perfectly healthy now." A gentleman once approached me after experiencing years of financial struggle. His inner conversation was filled with statements like, Things are getting better. I'm moving towards prosperity. My debts are gradually decreasing. I explained to him that this very conversation was creating the experience of gradual change, of endless becoming. He shifted his inner dialogue to speak from the end. I love having more than enough. The results were immediate and startling. Within days, unexpected opportunities appeared. A long-forgotten investment suddenly paid off. A new business partnership emerged that transformed his financial situation completely. What others called coincidence, we know as law. Here's another crucial aspect of this secret. Your inner conversation must be anchored in the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Many attempt to change their inner dialogue mechanically, repeating new statements without the corresponding feeling tone. This is why their manifestations are slow and non-existent. In the book of Psalms, it says, "Delight thyself also in the Lord, and he shall give thee the desires of thine heart." This delight is the feeling tone that must accompany your inner conversation. When your internal dialogue naturally flows from the joy of having your desire fulfilled, manifestation is instantaneous. Consider a woman who desires marriage. Her inner conversation might be technically positive. I am married to a wonderful man. But if these words lack the feeling of being happily married, they remain hollow and powerless. When she assumes the feeling of being a beloved wife, her inner dialogue naturally flows with statements like, "I love cooking dinner with my husband. Our evening walks together are so precious. I'm so blessed to share my life with my soulmate." These words carry the feeling tone of the wish fulfilled. Let me share something even more profound about this secret. Your inner conversation extends beyond your waking hours. The thoughts and dialogues that occupy your mind as you fall asleep are particularly powerful. This is why the Psalms instruct us to commune with your own heart upon your bed and be still. Most people fall asleep rehearsing the problems of their day or worrying about tomorrow. Their inner conversation during these crucial moments is creating more of what they don't want. Instead, as you fall asleep, let your inner dialogue be from the state of your wish fulfilled. Let it be natural, easy, reflecting the joy of already having what you desire. I recall a man who had been seeking a specific position in his company for years. Every night he would fall asleep thinking about how to get the promotion, what he needed to do, who he needed to impress. His inner conversation was always about seeking, never about having. I instructed him to change his preparatory sleep conversation. Instead of planning and strategizing, he was to fall asleep each night with the inner dialogue of already being in that position. His new inner conversation included casual remarks like, "It's wonderful having this responsibility. I love leading this department. My team is exceptional." Within 2 weeks, not only was he promoted to the position he desired, but he was given even more responsibility and compensation than he had imagined possible. Now let me address something that many of you struggle with, the appearance of failure or delay in your manifestations. When things seem to be going wrong, when circumstances appear to contradict your desire, your inner conversation becomes crucial. Most people allow the internal dialogue to be dictated by circumstances. This is the exact opposite of how the law works. In the book of Romans, it is written, "Call those things which be not as though they were." This is not positive thinking. This is the revelation of how consciousness creates reality. Your inner conversation must call forth the reality you desire, regardless of appearances. Lady who was manifesting perfect health while dealing with a chronic condition, instead of allowing her inner dialogue to focus on symptoms or medical reports, she maintained a conversation of perfect health. "My body is strong and vital. Every cell in my body is functioning perfectly. I am the picture of health." Her doctors were amazed when her condition completely reversed, defying their prognosis. This brings me to another vital aspect of rapid manifestation. Your inner conversation must be protected from the doubts and negativity of others. When others speak of impossibilities, when they point to reality or facts, you must maintain your inner conversation is so vital. In the book of Proverbs, it states, "Guard your heart with all diligence, for out of it are the issues of life." Your heart, your consciousness, is your inner conversation. When you allow external voices to influence your internal dialogue, you give away your creative power. I remember a remarkable case of a young artist who came to me in despair. Gallery owners had rejected her work, critics had dismissed her talent, and her family insisted she find a real job. But she understood this secret. Instead of allowing their voices to become her inner conversation, she maintained an internal dialogue of success. My art touches people deeply. Collectors value my work. My exhibitions are always successful. She told me later that maintaining this inner conversation felt like standing firm in a storm of contrary opinions. But she persisted. Within months, a prestigious gallery owner discovered her work. Today, her paintings command significant prices, and critics who once dismissed her now praise her unique vision. What changed? Not her talent. That was always there. What changed was her inner conversation. Here's another crucial aspect of this secret that few understand. Your inner conversation must be faithful to your assumption. If you assume the state of wealth, but your internal dialogue still speaks of budgeting, saving, and financial caution, you are being unfaithful to your assumption. This divided inner conversation creates delayed and mixed manifestations. In the book of James, it says, "A double-minded man is unstable in all his ways." This double-mindedness is not about having doubts. It's about maintaining contradictory inner conversations. You cannot speak internally as both the wealthy and the wanting, the healthy and the sick, the loved and the lonely. You must choose your state, and let your inner conversation be faithful to it completely. Consider this profound truth. Every moment of your day is an opportunity to align your inner conversation with your desired state. When you shop, does your internal dialogue speak of prices and affordability, or does it naturally discuss preferences and choices? When you dine out, does your inner conversation concern itself with the cost of the menu, or does it focus on the pleasure of the experience? These seemingly small moments of inner dialogue are actually crucial turning points in your manifestation. Every internal word either aligns with your desire or contradicts it. There is no neutral inner conversation. Let me share one final secret about rapid manifestation that will transform your understanding completely. Your inner conversation is not just about words. It's about the consciousness from which those words spring. When you truly assume a state, the inner conversation appropriate to that state flows naturally, without effort or practice. This is why attempting to monitor and control every thought is unnecessary and counterproductive. Instead, occupy the state of your wish fulfilled, and the right inner conversation will flow spontaneously. This is what the Bible means when it says, "Let this mind be in you, which was also in Christ Jesus." It's speaking of assuming the state of your wish fulfilled, from which all appropriate thoughts and internal dialogues naturally flow. I knew a man who struggled with relationships. He tried to change his inner conversation about love and partnership, but it felt forced and unnatural. Then he understood this principle. Instead of trying to change his thoughts, he assumed the state of being happily married. From this state, his inner conversation naturally shifted. He no longer had to remind himself to think positive thoughts about relationships. The internal dialogue of a happily married man flowed effortlessly from his assumed state. Within months, he met and married a wonderful woman. But here's the crucial point. The meeting and marriage weren't the miracle. The natural shift in his inner conversation was the miracle. The external circumstances simply conformed to his new state of consciousness. Now, as we conclude tonight's discussion, I want to impress upon you this final truth. Internal dialogue is defining your self-concept, and your self-concept determines what you manifest in your world. When you understand this, truly understand it, you will never again worry about circumstances, conditions, or the opinions of others. You will know that your inner conversation is the only creative power, and you will use it wisely and deliberately. Tonight, as you leave here, I urge you to begin this practice immediately. Don't wait for a perfect moment. Don't prepare yourself. Simply begin now to listen to your inner conversation, and then naturally let it flow from the state of your wish fulfilled. Let your internal dialogue be that of the person who already has what you desire. Remember, secret I've shared with you tonight is not new. It's as old as consciousness itself, but its power is as fresh and available now as it has ever been. Your inner conversation is creating your reality at this very moment. Use it wisely, use it lovingly, use it deliberately. For in the end, there is no one to change but self, and self is changed by the transformation of your inner conversation. The world around you, which appears so solid and real, is nothing more than your inner conversation made visible. Change the conversation and you change everything. And now, knowing this secret, go forth and prove it in the laboratory of your own life, for as it is written, according to your faith be it unto you. Your faith is your inner conversation, and it will not fail you. That is the law, and that is the promise. Ladies and gentlemen, the topic of our discourse is both simple and revolutionary. It's time to focus, conquer your mind. But I assure you what we are about to explore goes far beyond mere concentration or mental discipline. We are delving into the very essence of reality itself. You see, my dear friends, your mind is not just a tool for processing information or solving problems. It is the very foundation of your reality. It is the canvas upon which the entire drama of your life unfolds. And it is time. Yes, it is high time that you recognize this power and learn to wield it with intention and purpose. Now, when I speak of focus, I am not referring to the strained attention that you might apply to a difficult task. No, the focus I speak of is a state of being, a deliberate directing of your consciousness towards that which you desire to make manifest in your world. It is the art of seeing your desires and accomplishments, of living in the end result, of experiencing now what you wish to experience and what you perceive as the future. This focus, this conquering of the mind, is the key to unlocking the infinite potential that lies dormant within you. For you see, my friends, your outer world is nothing more than a reflection of your inner world. The circumstances of your life, the events that unfold around you, the very fabric of your reality, all of these are projections of your own consciousness. Let us pause for a moment and truly contemplate this revolutionary idea. Can you grasp the magnitude of what I am saying? Your mind, your consciousness, is not merely observing reality. Every thought, every belief, every assumption you hold is shaping the world you experience. This is why it is crucial, absolutely vital, that you learn to focus your mind to direct your consciousness with purpose and intention. Now, some of you may be thinking, but Joseph, if my mind is creating my reality, why is my life not exactly as I wish it to be? My friends, this is where the true work begins. You see, most people go through life in a state of unconscious creation. Their minds are filled with doubts, fears, and limiting beliefs. And these mental states manifest as the very limitations they fear. But I am here to tell you that it doesn't have to be this way. You have the power to consciously create your reality, to shape your world according to your deepest desires. And the key to this power lies in your ability to focus, to conquer your mind. So how do we begin this grand endeavor? How do we take control of our minds and by extension our reality? The first step, my dear friends, is to become aware of your thoughts, your mental habits, your deeply held beliefs, for you cannot change what you do not acknowledge. Begin by observing your inner dialogue. What stories do you tell yourself about who you are, what you're capable of, what's possible for you? Are these stories empowering or limiting? Do they align with the reality you wish to create? Or do they reinforce the very circumstances you wish to change? This awareness is the foundation of all change. For once you become conscious of your thoughts, you gain the power to choose new thoughts. And remember, my friends, thoughts are things. They're the building blocks of your reality. Choose them wisely. Now, once you have cultivated this awareness, the next step is to deliberately choose thoughts and mental images that align with your desires. This is where the true art of focus comes into play. You must learn to hold in your mind's eye a clear, vivid image of your desire fulfilled. You must learn to experience in your imagination the joy, the satisfaction, the sense of accomplishment that would be yours if your desire were already realized. This, my friends, is the secret of effective prayer. For prayer is not a pleading with some external power. It is not a beseeching of a distant deity. No true prayer is the feeling of the wish fulfilled. It is the deliberate assumption of the state of consciousness you would occupy if your desire were already a fact in your world. Let me give you an example to illustrate this principle. Suppose you desire financial abundance. The common approach would be to focus on the lack of money, to worry about bills, to stress about how to make ends meet. But this focus only serves to perpetuate the very state of lack you wish to escape. Instead, I urge you to assume the feeling of wealth. In your imagination, feel the satisfaction of abundant bank accounts. Experience the joy of effortless bill payments. Live in your mind's eye the life of someone for whom financial abundance is a natural state of being. Do this with conviction, with the assurance that what you are imagining is not a mere fantasy, but a reality that is even now coming into being. You see, my friends, your imagination is not a place to escape reality. It is the very workshop in which reality is forged. What you habitually imagine you will inevitably experience. This is why it is crucial to guard the gates of your mind, to be selective about the thoughts and images you entertain. Now I can hear some of you thinking, but Joseph, this sounds like mere positive thinking. How can simply imagining something make it real? But you see, it is not mere positive thinking. It is an assumption of the reality of that which you desire. It is a complete identification with the state of consciousness that would be yours if your desire were already fulfilled. This is why I say it is time to focus, to conquer your mind. For in conquering your mind, you conquer your world. You must become the master of your inner kingdom, for it is from this kingdom that all outer circumstances arise. Let me share with you a powerful technique to aid you in this conquest. I call it the living in the end technique. Here's how it works. Before you go to sleep at night, construct a scene in your imagination that implies the fulfillment of your desire. Make this scene as vivid and as real as possible. Engage all your senses. See the details. Hear the sounds. Feel the textures. Smell the scents that would be present if your desire were realized. Now enter into this scene. Don't just observe it as a spectator, but step into it as a participant. Feel the emotions you would feel if this were your current reality. Allow yourself to experience the joy, the satisfaction, the sense of accomplishment that would be yours. As you drift off to sleep, hold this scene in your mind. Let it be the last thing you think of before you enter the sleep state. You see, my friends, in the state of sleep, your conscious mind relaxes its hold, and your subconscious mind becomes more receptive. By impressing this scene upon your subconscious just before sleep, you are planting a seed that will grow into your future reality. Repeat this process night after night, and you will begin to see changes in your outer world. For remember, your outer world must conform to your inner assumptions. As within, so without. This is the law of your being, and it is infallible. Now I want to address a concern that often arises when I share these teachings. Some of you may be thinking, but Joseph, what about action? Surely we can't just imagine things and expect them to happen without any effort on our part. Let me be clear. Action is indeed a part of the manifestation process, but it is inspired action, action that flows naturally from your new state of consciousness. When you truly assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, when you live in the end in your imagination, you will find yourself naturally and effortlessly taking the actions that lead to the realization of your desire. You see, once you have changed your concept of self, once you have assumed the consciousness of your wish fulfilled, your actions will automatically align with this new self-concept. You will find yourself doing things, saying things, making decisions that are in harmony with the reality you have imagined. And these inspired actions will be far more effective than any forced or strained efforts could ever be. This is why I say that the most important work is done in your imagination. For when you change your inner world, your outer world must change to match it. This is the law of your being, and it is absolute. Now let us delve deeper into the nature of focus and mind conquest. You see, my dear friends, your mind is like a garden. The thoughts you habitually think are the seeds you plant in this garden. And like any garden, what grows depends entirely on what you plant and how you tend to it. If you allow your mind to be filled with thoughts of lack, limitation, and fear, these are the seeds you are planting. And inevitably, these seeds will grow into the very circumstances you dread. But if you consciously choose to plant seeds of abundance, of successive joy and fulfillment, then these are the fruits your garden will bear. This is why conquering your mind is so crucial. It is not about forcing yourself to think positive thoughts. It is about becoming the conscious gardener of your own mind. It is about choosing with deliberate intention the thoughts and mental images you will entertain. It is about focusing your attention on that which you wish to make manifest in your life. Now some of you may be wondering, but Joseph, how can I maintain this focus? How can I keep my mind fixed on my desire when the current reality seems so different? This, my friends, is where the true test of your faith comes in. For you must have faith not in some external power, but in the power of your own imagination. You must understand that what you see in your outer world is nothing more than a shadow, the reflection of past thoughts and beliefs. It has no power to create your future unless you give it that power through your attention and belief. Your true power lies in your ability to imagine and feel a new reality into being. So, when your current circumstances seem to contradict your desired state, do not be dismayed. Instead, turn within. Close your physical eyes to the seeming reality of the outer world and open your inner eye to the reality you wish to experience. Feel it, live it, know it to be true in the depths of your being. For I tell you truly, what you can imagine and feel is real. You can manifest in your outer world. This, my dear friends, is the essence of focus. It is not about straining or struggling. It is about choosing where to place your attention, where to direct the power of your consciousness. And as you practice this focused imagination, you will find that it becomes easier and more natural. You will discover that you have the power to shift your state of consciousness. It will, to assume any state you desire. Now let us speak of persistence, for it is a crucial element in this work of focusing and conquering the mind. You see, my friends, the beliefs and thought patterns that have shaped your current reality are deeply ingrained. They have been reinforced over years, perhaps even lifetimes. They will not be changed overnight, but do not let this discourage you. For every time you choose to focus on your desire, every time you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you are weakening the old patterns and strengthening the new. You are literally reshaping the landscape of your mind and, by extension, the fabric of your reality. Think of it like carving a new path through a dense forest. The first time you walk this path, it may be difficult. You may encounter resistance, obstacles. But with each passing, the path becomes clearer, easier to traverse, and eventually becomes the natural way, the path of least resistance to do with your mind. At first, holding the focus on your desire may feel challenging. The old thoughts, the old beliefs may try to reassert themselves, but with persistence, with faithful attention to the reality you wish to create, the new path becomes established. The new state of consciousness becomes your natural state of being. This is why I urge you to persist in your imaginal acts. Do not be discouraged if you do not see immediate results in your outer world. Remember, you are working at the causal level of reality. The outer world must reshape itself to match your inner assumptions, and this may take time in your physical experience, but I assure you the law is infallible. What you persist in imagining and feeling as real must and will become your reality. This is not wishful thinking, my friends. This is the very law by which the universe operates. Now let's address another aspect of conquering the mind, the management of your emotional states. You see, my dear friends, your emotions are incredibly powerful. They are the fuel that gives life and power to your thoughts and imaginal. When you combine a clear mental image with a corresponding emotion, you create a potent force for manifestation. This is why it's not enough to simply visualize your desire. You must feel it. You must experience the emotion that would be yours if your desire were already fulfilled. If you desire wealth, feel the security, the freedom, the joy that wealth would bring. If you desire a loving relationship, feel the love, the companionship, the deep connection in every fiber of your being. If you desire perfect health, feel the vitality, the strength, the well-being coursing through your body. These emotions, combined with your mental images, create what I call feeling tones. And it is these feeling tones that shape your reality. For the universe responds not to your words or even your conscious thoughts, but to the sum total of your mental and emotional states. This is why conquering your mind also means mastering your emotions. It means cultivating the ability to generate and sustain the emotional states that correspond to your desires. And this, my friends, is a skill that can be developed with practice. One powerful technique for this is what I call living from the end. This involves not just imagining your desire as fulfilled, but actually living your day as if it were already a reality. Make decisions, interact with others, carry yourself in a manner consistent with the person who already has what you desire. If you're seeking a promotion of work, carry yourself with the confidence and authority of someone in that higher position. If you're manifesting improved health, Move and act with the vitality and energy of a perfectly healthy person. If you're calling in your ideal partner, interact with others with the joy and openness of someone who's deeply in love. By doing this, you are not just imagining a new reality, you are embodying it. You are bringing it into being through your very way of being in the world. And as you do this, you will find that your outer world begins to shift and change to match this new state of consciousness. Now, I want to address a question that often arises when I share these teachings. Many ask, but Joseph, what about other people? Can we use these techniques to change others or to make specific individuals act in certain ways? My friends, let me be clear on this point. The purpose of this work is not to control or manipulate others. It is to transform yourself, to realize the divine power within you. When you change yourself, when you assume a new state of consciousness, you will find that others naturally respond to you differently. You see, everyone in your world is yourself pushed out. They are reflections of your own consciousness. So when you change your concept of yourself, when you assume a new state of being, the people in your world must change in their behavior towards you, not because you are controlling them, but because they are responding to the new you. This is why I say that there is no one to change but self. There is no one to command but self. For when you conquer your own mind, when you assume the consciousness is your wish fulfilled, the entire world reshapes itself to match your new self-concept. This understanding liberates you from the need to try to change others. It frees you from the frustration of attempting to manipulate external circumstances. Instead, it empowers you to focus on the one thing you have complete control of, your own state of consciousness. Now let us delve deeper into the mechanics of this process. How exactly does a change in your consciousness create change in your outer world? To understand this, we must explore the nature of time and the structure of reality itself. You see, my dear friends, time as you typically perceive it, as a linear progression from past to present to future, is an illusion. In truth, all time exists simultaneously. The past, present, and future are all occurring now in this eternal moment of creation. What you perceive as the future is simply a state of consciousness that you have not yet assumed, and what you think of as the past is a state you have moved out of. But all states exist now, and you have the power to select and occupy any state you choose. This is why I often say that creation is finished. All possible states of being already exist. Your job is not to create these states, but to select and occupy them through the power of your imagination and feeling. When you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, when you occupy the state of consciousness of your desire realized, you are not creating something new. You are selecting and making real in your experience a state that already exists in the infinite sea of consciousness. This is why your imaginal acts are so powerful. When you imagine and feel your desire as real, you are literally stepping into that reality. You are aligning your consciousness with a version of reality where your desire is already fulfilled. And here's the truly miraculous part. Once you align your consciousness with this desired state, once you truly occupy it in your imagination and feeling, the outer world must reshape itself to match this inner reality. This is not magic or wishful thinking. It is the law of your being, as real and as reliable as the law of gravity. Now I can hear some of you thinking, but Joseph, this sounds too good to be true. Surely it can't be this simple. And to this I say, yes, it is this simple. But simple does not mean easy. It requires a complete revolution in your thinking, a total transformation of your concept of reality and your place in it. You must be willing to let go of your old beliefs about the nature of reality. You must be willing to release your attachment to current circumstances. You must be brave enough to imagine and feel a new reality into being, even when your senses tell you otherwise. This is why I say it's time to focus, to conquer your mind. For in this conquest lies your freedom, your power, your ability to shape your world according to your desire. As we draw our discussion to a close, I want to leave you with a final thought. The work we've explored today, this art of focused imagination, this conquest of the mind, is not just about manifesting your desires. It's about awakening to your true nature. It is about realizing the divine power that resides within you. You see, my dear friends, you are not separate from the creative power of the universe. You are that power individualized. Your imagination is not just a faculty of your mind. It is the very creative power of God operating in and through you. When you imagine, you are performing the divine act of creation. So as you go forth from here, I urge you to claim this power. Use it wisely and lovingly. Remember that your mind is the garden in which the seeds of your future are planted. Tend it carefully. Focus your attention on that which you wish to make manifest. Conquer the doubts, the fears, the limiting beliefs that held you back. Assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled and watch as your world transforms to match your inner state. And above all, persist. For in your persistence lies your power. The world may not change overnight, but I promise you this. As you maintain your focus, as you faithfully occupy the state of your wish fulfilled, your outer world must and will conform to your inner assumptions. This is the law, and it cannot fail. Go now and create consciously. For the time has come to focus, to conquer your mind, and in so doing, to conquer your world.